Is read. The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Madam Speaker, this motion is the last opportunity to amend the bill, and it does so, of course, without delaying passage. The bill, as it was considered in committee, authorized $733 billion for defense. Thanks to the work of General Bacon, the committee added $2.3 billion for disaster aid, and then the Rules Committee added widows' tax and Afghan visas and other items that brought the total up to about $737 billion. This amendment takes one more incremental step to fill essential funding gaps in the way that matters most to the troops. It restores $1.6 billion of readiness for things like repairs of F-15s that are only 59% of which are flyable today. It restores money for training, the things that matters most in saving the lives of our men and women. It restores $308 million to the personnel accounts. Now, that's not as much as the Pentagon asked for, but it does take it up to the level that passed the Senate by a vote of 86-8. Finally, it provides a 4% pay raise for the troops. Now, remember, Madam Speaker, the underlying bill does nothing for pay. The formula is as it is, and those members who have claimed the underlying bill did something have gotten 3 Pinocchios over it. Well, this underlying measure does do something. It provides a 4% pay raise to help with recruitment and retention and to send a message to our troops that we value them. Now, that's it. Straight up the middle, 3 things. You either vote for them or you vote against them. Total. It takes the total authorization to just about $740 billion. That's not enough, in my opinion, but it's better. It's better. I yield to the gentleman from Indiana, a veteran of the War of Afghanistan.
Madam Speaker, I was proud to serve my country in uniform in Afghanistan. And now I'm proud to serve in this Congress. And I'm proud to serve in a new and different way on what has historically been the most bipartisan committee, the House Armed Services Committee. Truth be told, I had expected that this committee, above all other committees, would always work together in support of our national security. After all, for over 50 years, this committee and this Congress have risen above partisan politics and passed the National Defense Authorization Act. Sadly, today it appears that tradition might come to an end. Madam Speaker, it doesn't have to be that way. This motion is an opportunity for my friends on both sides of the aisle to rise above petty partisan politics and do what the American people sent us here to do: to support our troops and defend our homeland. This year, the NDAA has unfortunately become the Non-Defense Authorization Act, and instead has been hijacked with a partisan political agenda, unlike the last couple of years when we all actually worked together to restore military readiness. At a time when our enemies are challenging us on the world stage, we simply cannot put our troops at risk and jeopardize our national security, which is exactly what the underlying bill would do. Let us show the American people the leadership they deserve. Let us give our troops the raise they've earned. Let us restore readiness and pass a worthy National Defense Authorization Act. Madam Speaker, mark my words. This is the moment of truth for this Congress. This is the single most defining moment of this Congress so far. This motion is an opportunity to show the American people that we can rise above petty partisan politics. Will my colleagues on the other side of the aisle really vote against a well-earned pay raise for our troops or for bolstering our readiness accounts? Madam Speaker, our soldiers, our sailors, our airmen, our Marines. They deserve better. The American people deserve better. With that, I yield back.
Madam Speaker, it's straight up. Pay raise, restore personnel accounts, and improve readiness. Straight up or down, you for it or against it. I yield back.
Has expired. The gentleman from Washington, what purpose do you rise?
To claim time in opposition to the motion to recommit.
The gentleman's recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have worked in a bipartisan fashion. And the worst part about it is they all know that, because we spent 6 months, my staff, your staff, working together to produce this product. The only petty partisanship on this bill is coming purely from the Republican Party that will put their partisan desires against voting for it. Why? Because Democrats are in charge. And as we've seen time and again on this floor, no matter how much we work with them, no matter how much we cooperate them, at the end of the day, partisanship trumps all. They will not vote for anything Democrats do, including, by the way, in this bill, we have the largest pay raise for our troops in 10 years, and you all are going to vote against that pay raise in this bill. We have in this bill money for widows. You have co-sponsored this bill for 10 years, telling us how much you care about making sure that the widows of our troops get money. And now that we do it, after 10 years we put it in the bill, you're going to vote against it. Just so you can say Democrats don't support national security. $733 billion in this bill, the largest defense bill in the history of the country. It's not enough. In response to the Democrats, it can always be more. No matter what it is, they're going to say do more. The Pentagon is apparently the only place in the country where Republicans feel that you can throw money at the problem relentlessly. This body has raised pay for our troops every single year. And again, I will simply close by saying we have the largest pay raise in 10 years in this bill for our troops. We've worked in a bipartisan manner. It's easy to say, well, I'm going to vote no, and therefore it's partisan. There's no good reason for it. This should be a bipartisan bill. It supports our troops. It supports our national security. And with that, I yield the balance of my time to the gentlewoman from New Jersey, a Navy veteran who has fought for our country as well, and a member of the Armed Services Committee, Ms. Sherrill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to oppose the motion to recommit. As a veteran and as an American, I urge all of you to put the political games aside, put our troops and our country first, and pass this defense bill. For 58 years straight, this Congress has come together across party lines to pass a bipartisan National Defense Authorization Act. This critical piece of legislation ensures Congress has a say in the mission of our military, in the policies of our Department of Defense, and the safety and security of our women and men in the field. Madam Speaker, I am honored to serve on the House Armed Services Committee, and I thank the chairman and the ranking member and all the leaders and all of my colleagues for their dedication to our military and to our national security. And as a U.S. Navy veteran who served for almost 10 years, I'm proud to be part of the new class of veterans and national security professionals who've worked on this bill in the committee. We know what it's like to rely on Congress to execute our mission and to keep our country safe. So we must pass the National Defense Authorization Act in this House. We must make sure that the vitally important priorities included in this House bill make it to the President's desk, and we must show the country that our disagreements are nothing compared to our tradition of crossing party lines and supporting the National Defense Authorization Act. And don't take my word on the importance of this bill. Take it from a Republican and a fellow Naval Academy graduate. He said, how do we explain to Americans who are risking their lives for us that we could not summon the courage to take some hard votes? How do we explain that we could not come together and work together when it mattered most? The fundamental purpose of this legislation, which has united members from both sides of the aisle, is to provide our armed forces what they need to do the jobs we ask of them. Ladies and gentlemen, John McCain knew this must be an area of bipartisan support, and this MTR is an attempt to strip away that bipartisanship, to inject the broken politics of Washington into a bill that should be bigger than your political party. The NDAA fully funds a 3.1% pay raise for U.S. military personnel, exactly what the president asked for. Madam Speaker, this is the largest pay increase since 2010, the last time the Democrats were in power. My colleagues had almost 10 years and more recently 21 hours of markup and 28 hearings to discuss this very issue. But not one of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle brought this issue up in committee. This last-second partisan motion undercuts the hard work of the House Armed Services Committee,
The gentlewoman's
which passed the largest pay raise for our
The gentlewoman's
troops
time has
in
expired.
years.
Yeah, that's it. Without objection, the previous question is ordered on the motion to recommit. The question is on the motion to recommit. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. No. The noes have it. The motion is not adopted.
Madam Speaker,
The gentleman from Texas.
I ask for a recorded vote or yeas and nays, whichever is appropriate.
A recorded vote is requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. Efficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their vote by electronic device. Pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, a 5-minute vote on the motion to recommit will be followed by a 5-minute vote on passage of H.R. 2500 if ordered, and the motion to suspend the rules and pass H.R. 1327. This is a 5-minute vote.